Alright, so one of the cheapest and easiest to consume protein sources is going to be canned tuna. A good rule of thumb to predict whether or not a fish will be high in heavy metals is to simply look at the size of the fish. Larger fish feed on smaller fish, meaning that they will accumulate all of the heavy metals of those smaller fish. And this is why oftentimes it's recommended not to eat shark, because these are going to be very large fish that oftentimes have a lot of heavy metals. And when it comes to tuna, oftentimes it's going to be very high in mercury. So one great recommendation, while it may be a little bit more expensive, is to switch out tuna for tilapia. And an even better replacement would be even smaller fish or bivalves. These would include things like sardines, mackerel, and anchovies, and things like shrimp, clam, mussels, or oysters. And now this is really something that you have to worry about if you're eating tuna every single day or multiple times a week. Or if whenever you do eat tuna, you're eating very large amounts of it. So I had an individual come back to me who's been eating tuna for a very long time. So we got his heavy metals checked, and obviously he was pretty high in mercury. So the first step obviously is to change his protein source away from tuna. But the next step is to actually work on getting rid of this mercury. Interestingly, I think one of the reasons that he became even more susceptible to this buildup of mercury was actually due to insufficient iron intake. You see, when we're not intaking a lot of iron, we increase the amount of iron transporters inside of our intestinal tract. But unfortunately, mercury can also use this transporter to be transported into the body. And without the competition from iron, we simply have upregulated transporters, and mercury has almost free access into our bloodstream. And this doesn't mean to go around supplementing with iron, because this could be quite dangerous. But it is important to know that sometimes nutrient deficiencies can actually increase the uptake of heavy metals. So once we remove the ingestion, now we have to work on actually trying to get rid of these heavy metals. So the first thing that's actually pretty important is actually keeping protein intake high. And this is because we have a specific enzyme inside of our body that's used for detoxification, and this is called glutathione. And it's made out of 3 amino acids: glycine, cysteine, and glutamic acid. So given we maintain a high consumption of these amino acids, we'll have the precursors in order to make glutathione. And the other important thing was actually the supplementation of selenium. And we supplemented simply because there were no dietary sources that this person had access to for high selenium. Selenium can actually bind to mercury and let it travel through the bloodstream as a non-toxic agent, where it can get to the liver and be filtered out by glutathione. Additionally, selenium deficiency actually reduces our production of glutathione. So after about 2 months of keeping protein intake high, supplementing with selenium, and finding an alternative protein source, we brought the mercury levels down by 80%. And interestingly, this is kind of an N equals 2, because I had the same issue, went through the same protocol, and had the same results. So I just wanted to make this video because a lot of people unknowingly may be ingesting a lot of heavy metals, and once they understand that they may be high in heavy metals, they're unsure where to go from there. And different heavy metals require different supplements and different protocols, so if you have any questions, simply just send me a message.